Hey, Internet. Welcome back to Same-ish Different Day, the podcast where we continue the march into madness. I'm Raza Malik, and I'm joined with my Amazeballs co-host, Bayley Nargang. Also featuring the lovely Wine Mom, the arbiter of everything TikTok and YouTube.
Hey, it's Wine Mom.
Bailey here. Gotta drop that reminder that you can find this show on any streaming service you use. Remember to leave a sassy review, and you want to bash us or our opinions generally? Well, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and maybe some other places in the future.
I join these guys weekly to keep their egos in check as we break down complex social issues and talk about why your kids shouldn't be watching family vloggers.
We talk about real-ish on a real level. Ain't got time for the Twitters? Don't worry, we have collectively wasted our existence combing the internet for you.
Also, before these two get carried away, don't be shy. Join our Discord for the inside scoop. You can also support us on Patreon, where you can work your way up our very own class system. And don't worry, it's pay to win.
So welcome back to another episode of Same Shit, Different Day, where we try not to rip each other's heads off.
Let's get it. I'm Bailey. This is Marching into Madness. And today, Raza wanted to talk about parasocial relationships. So we talked about this once before. It's a very interesting conundrum that we didn't experience so much in like the previous forms of celebrity. So simplest breakdown, parasocial relationship is you as the viewer, you are watching your favorite YouTuber on a consistent basis, say David Dobrik. You as a fanatic, a fan, start to love what David's into. You enjoy the same things that David enjoys. And then next thing you know, you want to dress like the whole vlog squad, right? That is the simplest way of describing a parasocial relationship. And then the weird toxicity comes in when you start talking about politics, influencing lifestyles. Can someone bring in an example that they have of a parasocial relationship?
Raza. I think you just like Logan Paul, like the Paul brothers, David Dobrik, Shane Dawson, all those guys, even on fucking a friend of the show, Onision, also has like that weird sort of parasocial relationship, but the difference between him and the other toxic one is that he feeds into it. Like he actually likes having that because he's weird, like that. So yeah, it's just like this one-sided relationship that these YouTubers sort of get into, and then it becomes dangerous.
Well, I feel like this has low-key been happening a lot longer than you're giving it credit for. Like the artist, I think her name was Selena, who was killed by her one of the president of her fan club, right? Because that was what that's kind of stuff that would happen back then. They would develop a relationship, yeah, and also
I guess, yeah,
Versace, I think it was, the brother.
Yeah, John Lennon's killer, even, right? John Lennon's killer was just
John Lennon's
obsessed with him.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, maybe you're right. I didn't consider that. I think then saying that, maybe we're just seeing it a lot more prominently nowadays.
Right.
Would that make sense? Like, because it's just more easily accessible.
I think Twitter is the gateway for that. I think a lot of people want to say that it's Facebook maybe, or YouTube or Instagram, but I really think it's Twitter, because Twitter is the place where you can tweet at sometimes the biggest celebrity, right, and they'll respond. And it happens a lot more with YouTubers. Like myself personally, if I tweet something about a YouTuber or in regards to a YouTuber, they usually like and or reply. So that creates that parasocial thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I wasn't considering. No, sorry. I wasn't considering applying it to any one given platform. You stumped me in a very good way. I guess you're right that Twitter and certain like communication forms allow for much more of that. Like someone
Yeah.
who's really into cooking channels isn't going to develop the same type of parasocial relationship as someone who's really into like your typical YouTuber.
Yeah. I mean, like, especially on Twitter, you're able to sort of comment on mass threads, and usually YouTubers, they want to be a part of those and create engagement, right? And then as well on YouTube, they have, well, also you can thank things like Patreon, the community tab on YouTube, like those sort of places where YouTubers are directly speaking with their fans, because the thing is that YouTubers don't see themselves, not all of them, okay? Not all of them see themselves as celebrities. So they're just thinking like they have a social group, like a little following, and they're chit-chatting with their followers and basically their friends. But sometimes they don't realize that they are a lot more removed from their fan base than they think.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I think the lines of professionalism maybe get a little bit blurry where they start to get, friendly with their viewers, which is why we have so many issues with some Minecraft YouTubers taking things too far with their fans. You know?
Yeah. So then, going off of that, I think you made some really good points there. Like, do you feel it's like a cultural thing, or why do you think this happens?
It's not a cultural thing because it like I know brown like Indian YouTubers that face the same issue except worse because it's like a very misogynistic culture there. So like especially when female Indian YouTubers, for example, do something, they have like 20 or 30 different men asking for their hand in marriage because they're obsessed
Yeah,
with
so
that.
I'm
So
gonna say it's definitely not cultural. I
it's
think
not
it's
cultural now.
I think it's more so that I think this is the thing, like, we don't look as consumers, we don't look at YouTubers and celebrities as people, right? And this is something that we've bared witness to multiple times because there are tons of, we'll just say, music artists who end up, passing away because they feel so alone. And it's like we don't see how alone that these people actually are. So a lot of these people who are entertainers, there's like the joke where it's like check up on your funny friend because
Yeah,
you never know what they're going through. And YouTubers are basically your funny friend because they're the ones who are
yeah.
being charismatic and they're out there and they're making content and they're trying to reach people and create connections. And so we tend to forget that they are real people, but they are still real people. So they're having these interactions with us, and a lot of them, we've been with them, like following them since they were teenagers into, adulthood, into marriage, into pregnancies, into, you know, older ages. Like we've followed them for a long time. We're there when their pets pass away, when their parents go on vacation. Like, you start to get connected to them because you know them personally
An
based on the
attachment.
videos you're watching.
You
Exactly.
have an attachment with
But
them.
the YouTubers, they're searching for those attachments, but
Mhm.
they're not getting the same that we get from them, I think, because I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like when you're watching a YouTuber, you get more than what they get giving to us, I guess.
Yeah, it's because they're putting on I think it's half because they're putting on a face for us, and
Yeah.
we don't know the whole real world, their whole real world. And then what all we do is just sit down and watch their content, and in return, they're giving us so much more, like so much, uh, like things to talk about, things to engage them with. So I think yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're
Well,
on the same.
I think there's a lot of YouTubers that I've been following for a very long time. And some of them have had some, traumatic milestones in their lives. And the first thing that they do is they may take a week off, but they give you an update video and they give you information that really they don't have to give us. But they do it because they feel like the connection has been created, which then gives us, the viewer, a false sense of entitlement to their lives, which creates that toxic
Fam.
parasocial
Yeah.
relationship.
You want to make them feel like you could know them, like you could
Yeah.
bump into them on the street one day, you know?
And
Yeah.
the internet, yeah, like the internet. On top of that, the internet sort of like equalizes us. So like, there's no like sort of like at that
Right.
point we don't look at them as like a celebrity. We'll look at them as us. We're like, he's just like me.
A friend.
Or yeah, he's just like me. So like, when we approach them on the street, or when we get obsessed with them, we think it's on the same level as as a normal friend, but it's like a completely different relationship.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I was watching, it's funny we talk about this. I was watching a really weird example of it that does cross the eras. I was doing my YouTube perusing to always check out what kind of weird niches exist. And
Mm-hmm.
so I found this poor kid who's trapped making the same type of videos because his dad is Susurly, like the fucking Iron Chef. His dad is an Iron Chef from the TV show,
Okay,
right?
right on.
This kid was trying to be a vlogger and then hosted his dad in one of the videos, and now he's just trapped making like, oh, Iron Chef does In-N-Out but gourmet. Iron
Yeah,
Chef
he's on
does
TikTok.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like,
I
this
think I've
poor
seen
kid.
that.
Yeah.
And then the parasocial part, I'm tying it in because it was really intriguing to see, and my PR brain was boggled like by the whole situation because it's this kid's channel and his content and he's narrating it, but the comment section is just full of people having a parasocial relationship with Susur Lee about, oh, I grew up
Jeez.
watching him. Oh, he's such a respected chef and he reminds me of my dad, or my time watching him in On a Iron Chef changed my life. It's like,
That's the other thing. You start to project things onto these celebrities, which is what's happening here. Like, 'cause
Well, you're right. But also keep in mind, like, okay, so if we're not talking about like famous celebrities, right? If we're talking about more like small celebrities, like YouTubers and stuff,
Mhm.
keep in mind they have schedules that they sometimes keep for years.
Yeah.
Like 20 years sometimes. YouTube, like, I'll use for example Markiplier, right?
Hmm.
He has been uploading consistent content every day or every other day for the last, I don't know, 20 years that he's been doing YouTube.
Hmm.
His parasocial relationship with his community is outrageous. Like,
Hmm.
people think that him and Mark, like, people think that them and Mark are best pals, right?
Right.
Because Mark has also created a lot of like content that requires his viewers to be engaged and involved. And so he's a prime example of the most parasocial type YouTuber there is. I mean, one of his really good friends that he has now was once a fan of his that met him at a convention and
Right.
befriended him, and then that's how he ended up doing Unis Honest, which I don't know if you guys remember that. It was really good. He did it with Ethan. Um, Ethan was the fan for many years before he met Mark, and so it's like, it's just crazy to see like how it actually all goes down when people are watching these content creators. But my point is like, they have this consistent content that they do on a regular basis, so these people become part of your routine, right?
yeah,
Like, you're coming home and you're like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and eat my dinner and watch my hour-long Markiplier video. You do that every day.
I see you there. Yeah, I do have one of those of my own. I was thinking of
Right.
that. Yeah, I do have one of those.
And then
of my
imagine
own.
you don't have that, right? It just goes away.
But so something this is free. This is spitballing. This just popped in my head. Like, cause Markiplier and like the video game YouTubers specifically in this niche, it's kind of weird because it's like half a relationship, right? You're only seeing them in their excited, giddy mode. So even though it's a parasocial relationship where you feel like you know them, like you're aware that you really don't know much about that person at the same time. And that's been tripping me out a lot lately as a communication specialist. It's like you're fostering, like, everyone's aware it's a facade and we're all still playing it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think you're being a little unfair. I don't think it's always a facade, but I hear what you're saying. I think like it's their job to
Yeah.
present the best form of themselves for us to relate to, which is why parasocial relationships are so dangerous. Because,
Yeah, it's
we if we look even just at some of the celebrities, if we want to do this, really think about the Black Lives Matter movement, think about the vaccine, think about um just like any big social media, the election with the T-Man, like
Mm-hmm.
it was a shock how many celebrities you thought you knew doing things that you were like, what? Like Kanye
yeah,
specifically, right? How many people were connected to Kanye because good old Christian boy making some good homegrown Christian music, but rap, and everyone was so connected to him, and then he was like wearing a red hat, and we were all like, what?
yeah.
What?
Yeah, because like what I think again, like I think what I forgot who said this, but like we see only one side of them. So when that red hat comes out, we're like, wait, what? My idea of you was completely
Yeah.
completely concrete. I believe that, and I
Yeah.
thought that was you. So it's like, yeah, I feel like people like once they see that side of somebody like all the time, they're like, okay, that's that person. They're not a or a three-dimensional person. They are just the same thing over and over again. This is who they are, and I know that for a fact. And they're getting this all from a YouTube video rather than actually engaging with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're right. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hardest part about it is you build this idea of someone in your mind,
Yeah.
and then they
Like
aren't that.
it's also the other thing that I wanted to touch upon is it's like parasocial relationships develop with teenage like predominantly with teenagers to young adults, and it can be like okay because like they're still sort of understanding the world around them, but when an adult does it, it gets sort of like dangerous because then the adult knows what they're doing. They know
Yeah.
exactly how the relationship is
See,
being played out.
I feel like though that kind of low key happens with online dating.
Oh yeah,
Is that
yeah,
we low key create parasocial relationships while
yeah.
dating, because
Well,
a lot of times you meet someone on an app and then you
mhm.
text or you follow them on social media, and so you get a feel for their personality or what you think, what you're
Their
taking away from their
personalities.
social media to
Yeah,
be their personality. And then you meet these people and they
yeah.
stink.
And
And
then
you're like, what the fuck?
to add on to what Ryan Mom is saying, the show that fucking example like was a good uh, example of that was You, right? Because
Mhm.
uh, it was showing how we create like create social media to get people for a social like to have a certain view of us, and that's
Mhm.
how we get that like, oh, so and so is doing great in life because they went to the beach and they were smiling. I saw it on their Instagram. So like we sort of like make ourselves like products of our
Yeah.
Mhm.
of that
Yeah.
I feel like
experience.
as human beings, we're always trying to sell this idea of self-obtained
Mhm.
happiness instead
Exactly.
of
Yeah.
like just enjoying your life and being happy.
Mhm.
Like just stop with social
Yeah.
media. Like just
I
enjoy things.
I'm really
Stream
struggling.
the only three people who will not do that is Wine Mom, Bailey, and I. We are too real. We're too real for you. We're too
Yeah,
fucking 2022 B.
Steal your subscriber money our way. But
Yeah.
I feel you. I'm really struggling with that one personally a lot lately because I'm trying to figure out how to develop that. How can I show my
yeah. Hmm.
face a bit more on social media,
Mhm.
but I hate sharing my own life. So how do I do that? How do I do both of
Yeah.
those at the same time? You know?
Yeah.
I'm in that same camp too because like I've sort of like looked at my social media, and I was like, wait a second, I'm pretentious, but then I don't need social media
Yeah.
for that. Don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But like it's sort of like, why don't you just step back and be like, okay, how do I make how do I make my social media more like diverse, more like people can see all angles of me? Then
Yeah.
I think you will find some like peace, quote unquote, because then at that point you're not like showing off. You're just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
vibing with it.
that's why
So
when I like the way that I use my own social media, like, of course, I stay somewhat anonymous here. I mean, if you really wanted to figure it out, you could. But I try to stay like more casual with my personal social media. Like, I have a private Instagram account, and all of my friends are like, "Oh, why is your account private? You're not going to get any followers." And it's like, that's the point. But I keep it private because I post personal-ish things on there, and I just try to like, I archive a lot of my posts all the time. Like, every once in a while I'll be like, I'm archiving all of this. I don't want it anymore, because with social media you feel this pressure to have like a very media presence, but for me, I'm like, I don't really care. Like, I'm fine
yeah.
if I only have one photo.
I forgot you can archive shit.
Yeah,
Well,
Maybe you
I
should
did
learn
that.
that.
go
Yeah, I
on.
did that. Like it to clean up my social media
Yeah.
thing. I just archived everything, and like the other thing is it's just like I know it sounds cliche, but I'm kind of doing it now. But like, move in silence. Like, you don't need to show the entire world every single step you're doing. So
Yeah.
like, people who post like 5 times a day, I'm looking at them like, don't you have anything else to do? But then people need that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They need the validation. So, and that's what to circle it back to, do that emotion. The whole parasocial thing, I think, comes from like a validation, from like
Mm.
in a sense, because
Yeah.
one person needs that celebrity to know that they're there without them knowing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I like
All
that.
right.
Fuck
Then
you.
with that, we're transitioning. Okay, we got the next segment. Then we're moving on to our much belated. Just since we missed our last week because we decided to take a little breather, we just had the me and Razas on. We got to finish our movie debate, our best Halloween
Oh,
movie
yeah.
debate. Okay.
Well, it should be
So
you guys now, right?
It is.
I
It is.
debated
Yeah.
all my movies.
And I fucking. Oh my god! I just forgot to link that. I'm so sorry, Bailey. 1 second.
oh
Oh
no, that's
my
okay.
god.
I was
Oh,
gonna
I
just download fucking
complete
images.
slipped my mind. Okay. Bookmarks. Plain text thingy. Okay, so it's Tremors against a Quiet Place.
Mm.
Yes. Okay. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so we've done the face-offs. I don't think Raza, he may have the spreadsheet open for afterwards so that we can
I
see
do. Yes,
what
I do. Let me.
movie won. But we went back and forth for a minute to do our brackets to see which has the superior movie, and now we are down to the last debate, which is between me and Raza. There you go.
Mm.
Explained. Okay.
Titans. Two Titans.
So since now we've got Wine Mom as the judge of us, Wine Mom, what are you judging best horror movie upon?
I don't know, because what are the two movies? I don't know. I feel like it really depends. Quiet
Tremors and a
Place.
Quiet
See,
Place. Yeah.
Tremors, I don't know.
You haven't seen Tremors?
No, I'm just gonna go based off your arguments.
Okay.
I'm just gonna see how I feel by who has a better argument.
This is
I
interesting.
support this. Give me
Mhm.
okay.
I think it's up to
Raza,
you guys to tell me what you from each
I'm
horror
okay
movie is
with
better.
going first, but I would prefer to go second so that I can pull up some images as we're doing this.
Okay, I'll go first then.
Oh,
I'll go first.
Okay, thank you.
And then Here is the link if it lets me. I practiced this whole thing in the shower, so let's
Oh
hope
God.
this goes through. Yeah,
See how this goes. All right.
this way it goes. Yeah.
Okay, Raza, are you
Yo,
ready?
no.
No? Well,
Okay, I'm
present your
born
case when
ready.
ready.
I was born right. Okay, so uh, can I go?
Yeah. Go.
Okay, okay. A Quiet Place 2 is a great movie because it's one of the few horror movies that engages the audience, that asks the audience to also engage. And by engaging, I mean shutting stop talking. Um, the reason why I think it deserves to be on this list is because it's not like any other movie. Other movies rely on the jumps. Other horror movies rely on the scare factor and shit, whereas this clenches at your anxiety and makes you clench, if you know what I mean, right? So going back to what I said, to it engages the audience, right? Because if you're the whole point of the movie is for you to also be quiet too, because it sort of like loses its its spectacleness if you start talking and stuff. So it's it's like a movie that ask you to be a part of it, ask you to, to also take it up, because you will also feel the fear as well when it's all quiet and you're watching people escape from the monsters. You're trying not to scream because the you have sort of told yourself the quietness is also the fear of it too. And it's like we're talking about the first movie though, not about the second one. And it's a very grounded movie. I do like the fact that these creatures have supersonic hearing, but they can't see, and that makes it more like more more grounded, more like believable. And it just and like the ending, like the last ending is kind of badass. She cocks a shotgun back.
Spoiler alert.
The movie came out when 27.
Still.
It's there's a rule. You
Yeah,
fucking
isn't it 10
yeah.
years is a rule? But okay.
No, 10 years is for bigger movies. But what was the thing? So yeah, cocks the shotgun gun back, and then it cuts to black, and then bam, that was perfect way to end a movie. And then of course this is the second one built on that blah blah. But the first one just goes to it like I did enjoy the fact that barely any words were spoken. I'm pretty sure pretty sure the script was only like 2 pages long. Movie scripts are like novels. Uh, and then yeah, it was just like, and then Jim from The Office was his daddy, and energy in it. I was all about it. Um, but yeah, him, yeah, it's a movie that like can be done again. Uh, but if it's done right, it can be done again. So that's
Right.
that's Quiet Place,
Okay.
starring Emily Blunt and the other guy.
He's quite the salesman, isn't he, Wine Mom? He's
Yes.
really selling the product out with energy and
I mean,
enthusiasm.
I'm borrowing Wine Mom's whole vibe. She makes me want to get a new cell phone plan every time she.
You're welcome. That's what I
Okay,
No
do.
problem.
so Wine Mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know you like movies that play with the senses, right? That play with alternative perspectives and new ways of like envisioning the fear and the terror and stuff, right? So like A Quiet Place, kind of like that, But it's one of those. It's just like a modern one. It may as well be Bird Box. Like, well, how am I supposed to tell Bird Box from A Quiet Place if I played them side by side? You know what I'm saying? So Tremors, though.
Mm-hmm.
Tremors is an original. It's an OG in the field. Do you like Footloose? You like Footloose, Wine Mom?
I was good.
No.
Fuck.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Well,
Even I was gonna say yes.
Sorry.
we got Footloose's very own Kevin
I mean, it's
Bacon.
fine.
Okay.
Okay, I
Mhm.
like Kevin Bacon. You could have started with that.
That's wild. If you like Kevin Bacon, you're gonna know Footloose because that's where you see the most Kevin Bacon butt. But
Yeah, I don't. No. But anyways, come on.
I'm not
Sell
into
your-
Kevin
sell it.
Bacon's butt.
No.
So Tremors, set in the desert, right? So have you ever swam across a large lake and you've been creeped out because something might nib at your toes or something? You like
Always.
yeah. Imagine if you were in the desert and there was like man-eating worms in the sand.
Okay.
Dune.
That's
Like Dune.
Tremors. Yeah, so you're like
Okay.
Dune.
walking around in a desert town, like where Bailey grew up, which is why this was an especially scary movie for a childhood Bailey. So,
Mm-hmm.
desert town, there's this giant fucking worm monster that can just come up and like swallow people whole, and it's called Tremors because it senses people from their like vibrations walking on the ground.
Mhm.
Right? This is like the OG of those weird movies. That was like Tremors set the cornerstone for the weird. The monsters have a really specific cliche about them.
Dune.
So it was really scary for the time, but it's definitely gimmicky and hokey nowadays. But much like the other movie cases I have presented, I would say that Tremors set a precedence for movies like A Quiet Place to exist. And that is why I think Tremors still holds up to this day on its merit of like B-style movie classicness. And I rest my case.
Okay. All right. Okay. Am I supposed to make a decision now? Chris.
Yes.
All right. So this is gonna be a weird decision. Okay.
Okay.
I've not seen either of these movies yet. That's
But
why I
she
said
said it
Raza.
was
That's why I said spoiler alert. But it's okay.
Okay.
You did it anyways.
I think you mush away.
So it's fine. So I haven't seen either of them.
Mm-hmm.
I will say the first Quiet Place was impeccable. I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was an amazing movie. So I haven't seen the second one. I can only assume that it is just as good and engaging.
Yeah, but we're talking about the first one.
But you were talking about the first one?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then yeah, it's definitely a superior movie. But I'm going to give it to Bailey. And for one reason only, because the way that he described the movie makes me think of like cult classic-y type movies like The Fly, and I think the other one is like It. It's one of them
Yeah,
The
but
Fly,
like
The
it was
Blob,
one
like
of the.
those sort of ones.
It's very
It was one of
Jaws
the.
era.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of the first one of the first like horror movies to use like non I forget the term they use, but it was like more
Animatronic?
Yeah, it was more animatronic, whereas Jaws was purely a mechanical.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to Bailey, but I will say though, A Quiet Place was probably better.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna give it to Bailey just off
We
the
need
merit of how he
better
described it.
rules for this because we're like, yeah, this one movie is good, but I'm gonna give it the point to the other.
Because but this is why this works though, because we're not just giving it to the prettiest movie, because you could give it to newer movies because they usually are better done, prettier, higher production, more expensive. You could just go, well, forget it. Why are we even having movies from the 90s in this then? Because we could just give it to all the newest movies, right?
I was gonna
Um,
put this the signs. I was gonna put signs
but
there.
I think it creates more challenge to not just go it's the prettier movie because it has a higher budget, and instead look at, what those other movies represent as far as the
Mm.
the horror genre is, right?
Yep.
Okay.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Alright.
Thank you,
Yeah.
And
Arjun,
that
for presiding
and
on this
there
case.
and this took us 4 long weeks, and we have finally come down to the definitive list, which is
So
The
this is like,
Shining.
Yeah,
wait,
so
hold on.
Dungeon Master, you made the rules to these games, and now you're
I
also
was gonna say,
sitting.
what is this list?
Now,
Is this
what
the
is the-
final list? Like, are we debating these?
No, no, no,
What
no,
is
no,
this
no, no.
Okay.
Remember what I said 2 weeks ago? Or, yeah, 3 weeks ago. We're doing
No, that
top.
was 3 weeks ago.
Okay, sorry, 3 weeks ago. Top 5. Like our top 5 horror movies, like The Martian, The Madness, the definitive
Oh,
list of
okay.
horror movies.
Oh,
So
okay.
we have got the list here, and I'm gonna read it out to you guys.
Oh, okay. So the number one movie, the best
The number
one, is
one
The Shining. That's what you just said. So
is
continue.
we're doing it from 5 to 1.
Best?
So
No.
relax.
The best?
Do you want? I mean, so
Do not put The Shining at the end of that list. You will be
we're
very
gonna
sorry.
we're gonna put Tremors number 5.
Okay.
I feel like this is not fair because Roz is getting to decide.
I know.
Okay.
Which it is.
Tremors is number 5. Continue. Go on.
Tremors is number 5. Hush is number. Sorry, The Tall Grass is number
Mm-hmm.
4. Hush is number 3. And then The Shining. So Tremors. Sorry, top 4. I lied. Top 4. I can't count.
Oh, okay.
So Tremors, Hush, Tall Grass, and The Shining. There you go.
I feel like you should switch Tall Grass and Hush, but it's okay. I'll
Tall
take it.
Grass.
The Shining is
All right.
number 1, so it's all right.
All right,
I
fine.
mean, it's a definitive horror movie. People call it back to that one. Nobody really calls back.
I do feel like
to
this is
Tremors.
this is very much like a personal marching into madness horror movie list, because I know that the people would feel differently about this list.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
But The Shining is still number 1. I don't care what anyone says. It's one
That's
of the best horror movies to have ever been
we have
created.
Bailey Taylor. We have put it number 1. All right.
Yes.
She needs
Yeah.
to hit us from
Okay.
both of us. I
It's
think.
number 1. When I make
It's
a
number 1.
TikTok of it, I'll make sure I mention that Wine Mom likes it best. It's got a Wine
Thank you.
Mom seal of approval.
Yeah.
I just
I'll
bullied
make
my way to
sense.
the top.
I mean,
That's what
Oh,
that's how
man.
Brian Cox does it in the hit show Succession
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
on
classic
on
trope. You
HBO.
nailed it. You nailed it. You nailed it. Do the little
Nailed
pirouette.
it.
I want to see the pirouette.
Do a dance.
Okay.
No,
So to
I'm
end
not
this
hit.
off,
I'm not hit his monkey.
to end this off, we got our little Reddit section. Now this has been changing up. It used to be an Ask Me Every. Woohoo!
Am I the asshole?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm mixing up the A acronyms.
And now we're doing Ask Me Advice.
And now it's an advice one. But so hopefully soon
I mean,
it's you kiddos.
It's okay. We go back and forth.
No,
I've been looking, but it just makes me feel like the Am I the Asshole one makes like I was going through it today, and it made me feel like shit of a human being because it's the most depressing, low key depressing subreddit. I don't know how
I
people
don't
can.
think it's
on that.
depressing.
I fucking was like so many issues with people. I'm just like, Jesus, this is a sad world we live in.
Raza's an empath. He feels for them.
Mm-hmm.
I was crying. I felt cringy halfway through that, but
so much drama.
And then eventually one day we're gonna get the kiddos listening to send in their takes, send in their need for advice. You know,
Reddit's.
Yes.
Since we're so good at it. You know,
let me have a parasocial relationship with you by making your life choices.
Let me be your mom.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one.
Give me your money.
Is an interesting one. I'm probably gonna have to censor it along the way, but this is fair. I like good choice, Raza. It is a wacky
Dude,
one.
the first comment on this one, I laughed so hard. Like, that's enough, Reddit. For me today, it's 8 a.m. You disgust me, you vile human being. Don't ever come back to Reddit again. I laughed so hard when I was
So,
reading
how would you feel if your girlfriend or partner, I guess, yeah, if your partner told you that your ex, that their ex, her ex, used to pee in her mouth?
Ugh!
So,
Ugh!
I'm 29, dating this girl 25, right? And everything's perfect. I love her. She loves me. And we've been dating for like 5 months now. This morning, she tells me that she's into water sports, you know, that type of water sports. And that when her and her ex used to party, that he would commence the water sports. So now I can understand kinks, and I'm all for it. I think I'm not allowed to say that word too. So I can understand your interests, and I'm all for it. But I am not into this at all.
Oh yeah,
And now I'm
yeah.
pretty disgusted. I feel bad for being disgusted though. But for me, it's just like definitely over the line. I'm having a hard time respecting her, and I need some thoughts on this topic from other people. It's not so much that I care about her past, but I also don't want to be unsatisfactory for her doing something that I'm not comfortable doing.
Well, first of all,
there you go. Yep.
first of fucking all, you don't respect her because she did something in a previous relationship. That's a bigger issue with you, my friend, than what she did in a previous relationship. Respecting what people like. I mean, I feel like somebody needs to have a conversation with their girlfriend and needs to find out how necessary that act is for her pleasure, because it might not even be that serious of a thing for her. And maybe it was a thing that she did for him because he liked it, like whatever. And also, okay, I'm not into water sports. I also think that it's yucky.
I'd say that.
And it's funny because I had this conversation with a friend because they had brought up that somebody that they were friends with was into water sports, which grossed them out. My response was, pee is sterile, why do you care? Because that's what it's sterile, why do you care? If that's what other people want to do, then whatever, like, do you. I feel like he needs to have a conversation with her, and he needs to find out, because I feel like he's copping out by going, well, I don't having trouble respecting her because I don't want to just not be enough for her. It's like, okay, well, obviously she's been with you for 5 months and she hasn't asked. I'm not going to say vulgarly, but she hasn't asked for the water sports. So maybe grow up, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he's done stuff that she probably was like, okay, whatever, you know?
Yeah,
So,
he makes it sound like she would like to continue to be peed on, but he never specifically says she asked him to pee on her.
Right.
I'm like 4 years old. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah.
I have the same when I was thinking about it. You're saying that people like water sports. I'm like, I would just giggle. If someone was like, oh, Bailey, pee on me. I'd be like, no, thank you.
I
No,
can't
thank
help
you.
it.
I just I get it. Like I
You.
understand why it's, because there's a lot of things about other people's that the other people like that I'm just like, no, there is no way you could not pay me enough to partake in that. So I get it, but I just feel like she's your girlfriend. Like, why? Like, don't judge her like that. Don't be so crappy.
Yeah, and then he turns around and says, "Wait, so you don't want to give me a Dutch oven?"
Well, it's like, okay, like, not to get, like, you don't want to get too graphic about things, but I'm sure there's things that he's like, let's do this, and she's probably like, no, thank
No.
you, but she does it for him anyways,
Yeah.
you know? And like, for him to make a post on Reddit about it, like, talk about small PP energy, buddy. I'm just saying.
I'm not doing
The
it.
defense.
No, I'm not
Go
doing
ahead,
it.
Bailey.
I
Do
want to
it.
hear.
I'm
I
not
want to
doing
hear
it.
Do
this.
it.
No, I'm
It's
not
part of the
doing it.
discussion. Do it. It's
I'm
part of
not
the
doing it.
discussion.
Yeah,
I think he
engage.
used a lot of bad
Discourse.
words. I think this gentleman needs a lot of education on his language, and you're right. Like respect is a big pivotal word there. But it sounds like
That's big.
he wrote the post out of like wholesome wanting to find not wanting to k word shame her, you know, like I think he wrote it out of not wanting to shame, but fucked up completely.
His intentions were good.
I feel like I can appreciate what you're saying, but the fact that you're a girlfriend of 5 months that you love, you are going to say because of something she did in a previous sexual experience, you can't respect her.
That's like,
Like,
yeah, that's kind of a weird draw.
I'm sure, because this is the thing, like, do you know what your mom did in her sex life? Because I know you don't know what your mom did in her, but I bet you respect your mom.
Yeah, which is very important, and that's the biggest, most important part about
like
freedom
just
of
because
choice and all that.
But it's like just because you partake in that stuff doesn't mean that that person deserves any less respect.
Totally. I agree with that.
Like, this is 2020. We're almost 2022, okay? No more K-shaming. Unless
peon,
it's,
whoever you want peon.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless we're talking about, like, a Blumpkin. Then we've got a problem. That's a real problem.
Okay, I
or
promise
Chewbacca.
I will not shame anybody, but I may giggle if you tell me.
I may giggle.
That's the thing. Like, hey, so
you're allowed to laugh at something you find uncomfortable.
Because I'm 4 years old.
It's all good, bro, but I'm gonna giggle.
Okay, well, I'm curious though. Like, I've said what I said, and I think he's being a little baby, and he needs to grow up because, like, who cares? It's not like, you're unless you have the conversation with her where she says, "Yeah, you must do this moving forward, otherwise, I get no sexual pleasure." Then that's a conversation you need to be like, "Okay, this is not for me," right? But if that's not what she's saying, then, like, maybe don't tell the entire internet that you don't respect her.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it. But individually, what are, like, you guys?
I just think that, like, she's like, yeah, it's in the like, she did this already. Like, I don't think she's gonna be like, oh, hey man, do you want to just get paid on? No, she's moved on from. She's probably moved on from that.
My mom's asking you a harder question.
What question is that?
What if let's say the person you're dating was just like, yeah, by the way, Raza.
Well, like, put yourself in his position, yeah.
Oh, same. Like, if I was living like that, I'd be like, as like, I'm not comfortable with it, but I get that you have done that. I'm not gonna judge you on something I wasn't a part of. Like, what we do in this relationship is between you and I. So like, it isn't like I'm gonna call you out on stuff you've done in the past. Like, I don't expect you to call me out, right?
This is why, as women, don't tell men about your sexual experience. If they ask, just say missionary only. Okay, don't tell them anything. They don't need to know.
What would you do, Bailey?
They can't handle it.
That's not healthy either.
They can't handle it.
I would stutter a fuck of a lot. I would be okay with it, but I would stutter my way through, like, we need to talk about boundaries in a two-way street, because I think it's kind of gross. I support it if you want to go off on a Tuesday, but, like, can we talk about boundaries? Like, is it okay for me to request a very
this is the thing.
You know?
This is the thing.
What?
I don't enjoy this aspect of play, okay? I don't enjoy it. But it's not gross. It's gross because of the social... No, it's gross because of the social stigma that's around it. But technically, the science of it, it's not that gross. Because pee is technically sterile. You can drink it up to 3 times in emergency situations. You guys gotta watch some Survivor Man.
Okay? Survivor Man doesn't drink his own piss. Survivor Man would snap.
And so does Bear.
No, only Bear does. Survivor Man.
No, it's a thing. No, he's filtered it before. He has. Anyway, he has because I've watched a lot of Les
My
Stroud.
2 co-hosts are watching what is like if pee is not
No, but
sanitary or not.
because I just
love it.
feel because the reason why I'm saying this though is 'cause I just feel like it has an unfair stigma. Like it has
No, it's like
it has like an added thing
It's
to
the
it that's
ammonia
not
smell.
true.
Like, do you want to fuck in a litter box? Like, no, thank you. You know,
Okay,
like,
okay, Bailey. Okay, Bailey. Why does your pee smell like ammonia? That's the bigger question. Are you drinking water,
yes,
honey?
I drink water, but even when you drink
enough?
water, there's still a pee smell.
Never.
If it's called a
No.
golden thingy, right? If it's a golden thingy, it needs to be a
Because
certain
okay,
color. I'm pretty
Well,
sure that they
whenever
don't want. I'm
because
pretty sure
most
they're
of the
aiming.
population because most of the population is dehydrated. That's why it's a golden shower because it usually is golden. But if you take care of your body and you drink enough water, that won't be the case.
Okay, maybe if some godlike vegan was into
Thank
it,
you.
then I would consider it. If some they eat dragon fruit every day, they got star fruit on the weekends.
Okay.
All right, maybe
Okay,
we
you're
can
missing
get down.
Okay, so you're missing my point. I'm not arguing for the fact that like you should be okay with doing it or having it done to you. But what I'm saying is it shouldn't be looked at as something as like something dirty, like physically dirty because it's really not.
Yeah, but it feels physically dirty to me.
Yeah,
you
you're
know?
allowed to feel like for you you're like yucky, don't like it.
And I can
But I
also
mean,
be
like-
yucky. I don't want pee touching my fingers. I've already cleaned bathrooms half my life. I don't need to be around more next man's pee.
No, I agree. You're correct. I agree. But what my point that I'm trying to make is that it's sterile. So it's not like the other form of bodily function play. That's what I'm trying to say. Like it's not that bad in the grand scheme of things and he needs to like get over it. Cuz I'm pretty sure he's probably watched a video where something like that has happened and it's fine then, but because it's his girlfriend, suddenly it's weird and not okay because of this idea of ownership over this woman that he's seeing instead of respecting her as an individual with enjoyments.
Like it's as soon as you get out of Vanilla Land, you'd be surprised how common it is. It's like through my work with SWs, it's like there's many a man's want the pee videos.
I mean, guys literally send messages on social apps asking for videos of that.
Oh yeah, no.
And lots of guys want to hear and lots of guys want to hear girls go pee too. So it's like y'all need to stop pretending like it's. Come on, own up to your shit.
Shit was always jokes. I'd be hanging out with them and they'd have to bring their phone into the bathroom with them for Snapchat. It's like, oh my god, that's wild. It's like, well, I may as well make money while I'm doing it. It's like, Jesus.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. So, any other thoughts on these very pressing and important topics we debated today? Any concluding thoughts by Raza, who's been very involved in this second
this video game? Yeah.
So this is out of my wheelhouse, and I just prefer to not say anything. I just source the story and make and go like let them fight, and then 9 times out of 10 it ends up there. So it's like my job is done. Yeah, fucking don't do whatever you want to do, but don't K-shame your partner. Don't be a bad boy.
Yeah, don't decide you don't respect someone because of something they did in the past. Don't be boring.
Just grow up, live a little. People change. It's called being an adult. It's not fun, but it's what makes people better.
Yeah.
And be curious and not judgmental.
Yeah.
Done. Thank you, everybody. We're about to play the outro. If you're watching this on the recorded version on the YouTubes, when you watch us on stream on Mondays, you can hang out and chat with us, which Panda's about to do and annoy us. So watch this video. We're going to be right back in a minute. Love y'all. 1 sec.
Thank you again for watching us badly talk about these topics.
You can follow us on Twitch, Marching Into Madness, all one word, no space. On the gram, marching_into_madness. And on Patreon at patreon.com/marching-into-madness. And again on Le Discord at Marching Into Madness.
Join us and Bailey will pay you 10 whole Canadian dollars.
You can follow Whitey over at gnarly_media on the Insta. You must definitely follow the life of our whole podcast, Wine Mom, at XWineMomX, because the year's 2002, and we still have the X in our names. And me, your favorite brown boy, at _R.R Malik_.
Thank you for the third time. We love you. Drink some milk and be healthy.
Remember, kids, say no to school and yes to
It's like such bad advice. It's like, here we put this well-formulated podcast together with good insight on facts and truth and political points and social issues. Don't go to school, dude.
Oh, God.
Bailey
Motherfucker shouldn't be near school after saying that.
It's like, Bailey listens to me say the sentence and he goes, maybe I should say my sentence now.